Nancy, I'm really excited for our listeners to read this book, and thanks for giving it to us.
Let me tell you what's at the heart of it, this title, Even Better Than Eden. I hear a lot of times that the future we should be looking forward to is a restoration of Eden or a return to Eden.
Paradise restored.
And as I looked at that, I mean, if you think about Eden, and we think of Eden in terms of perfection, my contention is that we should think of it in terms of potential.
Right. Yeah.
And if you think about Eden, it was pristine, it was pure, but it wasn't secure. Isn't that obvious?
Yeah.
Something evil's going to slither into it. Adam and Eve weren't completely secure. In the day you eat of it, you shall surely die. So they're vulnerable.
Yeah.
They're vulnerable to death. It wasn't yet all God created. I mean, it had boundaries. It was a boundaries. It was surrounded by wilderness. And we know it wasn't yet all God intended because this is why God gave them this command. They are meant to be fruitful and multiply. And as they do, the earth is going to become filled with image bearers of God who are loving him and enjoying him forever. So it's always been headed somewhere. And I suppose if at that tree Adam and Eve had obeyed, that the story of the Bible could have been creation, obedience, consummation. They would have led us into this glory that God always intended. But instead, the story of the Bible, if we want to put it in 4 words, would be creation, fall or rebellion, redemption, consummation. But my contention is it's not merely a return to Eden, because in each one of the 9 themes that I cover in Even Better Than Eden, one thing that we see is how much better, how much more glorious our future is going to be in this new garden.
What eye has not seen nor ear heard.
It's always going to be better. So according to each theme, so it's going to be a garden. It's going to be a garden that is far better. When you look in Revelation 22 and it describes the new heaven and the new earth in very garden-like themes, but it all excels. The tree of life is there, but now it's on both sides of the river, and it has 12 kinds of fruits and a new kind of fruit every month. I mean, it's all language of escalation. It's language of better.
Yeah. And whereas you've got Eden in one local place on earth, here you not only have the whole earth full of the glory of God, the whole earth is the temple, but the distinction between heaven and earth disappears.
Is lost, yes. So expansive. We were talking earlier about this theme of offspring. And when you get to the end of the Bible, in Revelation 21 and 22, I think this is a reference. It says, nothing unclean will ever enter it. So it will be completely secure. It's described with walls and all these things. So
better than Eden.
The security, it's going to be better than Eden. The marriage that began in Eden, it began really good. But you just go a few verses from they're naked and unashamed to this woman you gave me. And marriage goes really wrong very fast. And marriage throughout the Bible, we recognize as we trace the story, it's always been about God's intention to have a son and his bride in a new creation. And he hasn't given up on that. And that's where we're headed toward in the future. And there at the end of the Bible, we read about the bridegroom, and he says, come. And we see the bride, and she is adorned beautifully for her husband. And that's just another example of a story that resolves. But then we see this marriage is going to be so much better than the marriage in Eden, because this bridegroom won't fail his bride. He will love his bride perfectly. This is going to be the best marriage of all time, and it will not be simply until death do you part, because death will not us part at that point. There will be no more death. And so it's going to be the best marriage, and it's going to last forever.
And then the bridegroom will say, this woman that you gave me, but only to cherish her and to thank the Father for his gift of his church.